since I was a blue belt, I was like telling people like, yeah, I want to be in the UFC. They were like, bro, you're a fucking wild. You don't even know what you want in life. I'm like, I came to this gym thinking about being a UFC fighter before I even learn how to fight, before I even see how would it do in fighting.
I was doing the same thing before I even joined Next Generation. I was saying I want to be in the UFC. I want to be in the UFC. And that was my goal before I even stepped foot in the gym. What is happening, everyone? Another episode of Chattin Pony with Paddy The Baddy, and got a belter guest on today, another UFC fighter. I've been at a few of his recent fights where he's got some big knockouts, brilliant knockouts. So, Marlon, Chito Vera, thank you very much for coming on the podcast, lad. But whenever I start the podcast, I always like to go back to the start with people. So, how did you get into MMA?
What's up, bro? I was getting on fist fights since I was in diapers, and I don't know. I didn't grow up rough. I didn't grow up in a crazy environment, but there was just something about it that I want to scrap all day, every day, and in school, in high school, and since I was a little kid, I would just, if I didn't like your energy, I just punch in the face, and I guess that's where we start.
Yeah, that's a great attitude to have. Like if someone's doing your head in nowadays, though, this day and age, you'd be getting arrested and stuff, wouldn't you? Back in the day, you could get away with that.
I get away. I only went to jail twice for a street fight, so I get away with a lot. But these days people get it a little soft. People have they like to talk the talk, but they don't want to walk the walk. And sometimes people run to the wrong person and go sideways. But if you keep it real and you just keep your distance away from trouble, I think you should be fine these days.
Yeah, most definitely. So obviously, as I say, going back to the start, you grew up in Ecuador. What was that like?
Ecuador, I grew up in a town called Chone, very small, a lot of farms. So for me, it was, Monday through Friday was just the boring stuff, going to school, getting a little bit of trouble, riding bikes. But, the weekends was where the cool stuff would come. My dad would take us to the farm, you know, take the cows, move them to different places, milk the cows, go grab horses, run the horses, a little bit of farming here and there, but everything was just playful. Sometimes when I look back, I was kind of working, but I didn't know it was working. It was just fun for me, just hanging out in, the middle of nowhere, running horses all day. Once the sun goes down, go back to the house because there's no lights over there. So you don't come in time. You're gonna be on full dark. So you just I think I grew up in a very fun environment, doing a lot of stuff, shooting guns, cool stuff.
Yeah, South America's somewhere I've never been. That I've always wanted to go. You know what I mean? I've never been to like Ecuador, Colombia, Brazil, Argentina. I've never been. It's a part of the world I've always wanted to go to. A lot of people say that it's very dangerous, though. You know what I mean? That's obviously you don't think it is, no?
Yeah, well, I feel anywhere you can find the danger zones. In every country. You go to the hood anywhere, you can get you can don't come back. But if you're in the right place with the right people, I think you should be fine.
Yeah,
And yes, it's a little dangerous, but it's dangerous everywhere.
you're right. You can bump into the wrong crowd no matter what city or country you're in, and it can go sideways.
Yeah, 1,000%. So, but like Ecuador is fun. If anytime you want to go there, I set you up there.
Definitely, I'll have to call you on that one, lad, because I've always wanted to go to South America. But going back to your last fight, lad, I was there when you beat Dominick Cruz in San Diego, and that was a brilliant performance. Like you come into his own backyard, everyone was supporting him, lad, and you come in there and knocked him out. You know what I mean? What was that feeling like coming into someone else's own backyard?
That's huge. I'm kind of used to do that. I've been doing it for a while, and to me, it's a fight. We can be in my hometown, in your hometown. Doesn't matter. They close the cage. Where the is screaming outside? Doesn't really matter. It's me and you, and somebody's gonna go down. And I work so hard that it's gonna be hard to be the myself to be the man down. But it's fighting. Anything can happen. Even if you do everything correctly, success is not guaranteed. Winning is not guaranteed. That's why these times you just gotta be all in every day, all the time, because fighting is too hard, too crazy to slack or or fuck around. But it was fun. It was really fun. San Diego, it was a packed arena. My first main event in front of a crowd, so that was pretty cool. That was huge for my career, for my country, and for my legacy.
Yeah, that was like as I say, that's not the only fight of yours that I've been at, lad. I was there in New York as well when you fought Frankie Edgar, and lad, what you'd done to him with that kick, it was scary.
Yeah, I just throw them. I just throw them, and I throw them hard. Like I really wanna go through your soul, and you know, I feel like the reason I fight like that is because that's the same thing my opponent wanna do to me. Like that's what when people call this shit a sport. I'm like, this ain't a sport. We ain't shaking hands here. Like you're gonna knock me out unconscious and then come and give me a hug. I think that's cute. I think that's respectful. But that I don't wanna be there. I don't wanna be that person. So this game is gnarly, and I choose it. I'm good at it, but you gotta stay consistency because those performances come, but you just gotta you gotta put in work to find them.
I'm with you on that. Like, if I did ever get knocked clean out and my opponent was trying to give me a hug, I wouldn't want to do it. I'd be like, get away. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I want to rematch you in a few fights. I don't want to give you a hug.
yeah. I probably fight him. I'll probably go and fight him in his room afterwards. I'm like, fuck you. I don't. That's why when people get too friendly and shit, like I get it. I get it. People like the respect. They wanna bow to each other and shit like that, but I do that in the jiu-jitsu gym. In the jiu-jitsu gym, I shake everybody's hand. If I get tapped, I give you a hug. I ask you how you did it. But fighting is different animal. If I'm wrestling and you take me down, I give you a high five.
Yeah.
But if I'm fighting, I'm fighting. It's a different animal. All the martial arts in separate, they're cool. But once the cage is locked, it's a different animal.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you said that, to be honest, Jesus. That's something I always say. It doesn't matter where the fight is. Once the cage door's locked, all that matters is you and the other person in there. Anything can happen then. Like, literally. Doesn't matter how
Anything.
hard you've trained, the sacrifices you've made leading into it. If you make one mistake in that fight, sometimes you might even make a mistake. You get caught in a submission, you get caught with a punch, the fight's over. Like, people don't understand that aspect of it.
And in MMA, nothing is guaranteed. That's why I said it time to time again. I'm like, I can do everything correctly. I eat correctly. I go to bed on time. I'm not drinking. I go to the gym every day. I make sure I get on time. I make sure I'm getting better. I make sure I bring guys that are really good at a high level in any areas. It's still no guarantee. I do my 13-mile runs. I try to shave the time all the time. I just go a little faster, a little stronger. All that is just what I'm supposed to be doing. And it's still not having a guarantee that I'm gonna win the next fight. It's still not a guarantee that I'm gonna be a better fighter. That's why you just gotta just keep going and keep aiming for bigger and better.
Yeah. And another thing you said what resonates with me, lad, because I always say it myself. Like, it is a sport. Obviously, it's a sport, it's a respected sport now, MMA, but at the heart of it, for me, it's a fight. Like, as you say, with jiu-jitsu, with wrestling, you shake each other's hands after it. It's not a fight. You know what I mean? Like, I do like to shake opponents' hands if there's nothing being too disrespectful said beforehand, but like, it's still a fight at the end of the day for me. It's not like a team sport where, like, football, you know what I mean? If you lose a game of football, it's like, oh, we lost. You know what I mean? You can put the blame on
Yeah,
him or you can put the blame on him.
yeah.
When it's a fight, it's like,
You
oh,
got
that
you
was
got
me.
you got like 10 different people you
Yeah.
can blame on.
Like, that's what I mean.
In
People
MMA,
say
you can't do that.
people say fighting's a selfish sport, but I think it's the opposite. It's a lonely sport. Because once it goes wrong, lad, it's on us. It's on me or you. It's not on anyone else. They weren't the person in there.
Yeah, it's true. It's lonely. That honestly, that's why I like to run long distance by myself. I go to the hills by myself and just suffer by myself. I'm not thinking like, oh, let's set up the camera here. Let me look cool running this hill. I just go. I don't even bring music. I'm like, I want to be by myself. I don't want to hear nothing. I want to just hear my breathing and see what comes in my head because the head isn't a special thing. A lot of good things can come, but also a lot of bad dark ones can come. So it's good to keep the process going and just put everything through the filter. See what's good, keep it, get it better. See what's bad, let it go. It's a lonely sport, and I don't feel like everybody have a clean, good circle. Like I feel like I have a great circle. I have a good coach that is my friend, good teammate, and my friends from even from high school that we still around. I just feel like secure just because I could have maybe 10 people with me, but there's 10 soldiers. Then rather have 100 weak cloud chasers around me.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I've been there in the past, lad. Like, I won a world title on a different promotion when I was 21, and I let it all get to me head. You know what I mean? I got ahead of myself. I thought it was the best thing since sliced bread, and started hanging around with people that weren't really me friends, but were pretending to be me friends to get in nightclubs and stuff like that. And it, as you say, it made me realize who the real ones were, and now I only have me day ones with me, and it's made me life better,
It's way better.
100%.
It's way better like that.
But as you touched on, then you do a lot of big endurance runs, don't you? Like I personally, I didn't used to run at all. I never used to do any sort of like running for cardio. I don't know why. I just didn't like running when I was younger. I only started doing like long distance runs due to COVID because obviously you couldn't go to the gym and train. You had to just, that was the only thing I could do basically, go out and get 5 miles in, 10 miles in. And now I'm running every day. I feel like it helps me, not just me physical health, obviously, but it helps me mental health when I get out there on my own and just start running with my earphones in.
That's a fact. Running for me, running and most of the time surfing is just therapy. It's for my head. It's everything like, and I get a really really high cardio from both. But of course, running is my most important thing. I run maybe 5 times a week. But I don't run like I go either between 8 and 6 miles a couple times a week. Then on Sundays is when I do my 13, 15 miles, and it's just good for you. I can put pace on motherfuckers and just see them how they drown and they want to take the head out of the water. I'm like, no, bro, get your down. You're about to drown, and it's everybody can do it. I think I don't sleep on nobody. I'm expecting my opponent to be running. I'm expecting my opponent to be running faster, harder than me. So that's why I fight the way I fight because I don't sleep on nobody. And running, running is just good for you. It's good for the mind.
Yeah, definitely is. And you touched on surfing there. I tried surfing when I was in San Diego. Lad, that's hard. That's very hard.
It is hard. It is hard. Sometimes I do runs like that, and I can just feel my body is just but also you're detoxing. I make sure I hydrate pretty good, and you take all the bad away. It's like filtering your body too. But sometimes I kind of like put my feet on top, like it's kind of hot, and I'm like, you rather run in the heat or lose a fight. I'm like, let's just run.
100%. If you get that in your head, you're going to run, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, right. Just tie those shoes up and go.
Yeah, great stuff. But yeah, something I did want to ask you about was you were on the Ultimate Fighter Latin America, weren't you? Like, what's the
Say that
Ultimate
again.
Fighter? You were on the Ultimate Fighter Latin America.
Yeah,
Like,
I was
what?
in the first season.
Yeah, what's it like being on the Ultimate Fighter? Because I've watched it for years, and obviously you see crazy shit happening. You think, and you're like, I always ask people, what was it like being in the house?
It was crazy. It was kind of sad because you have a mic on you, so if you tell anybody like, oh, I'm feeling a little guy come knock to the door, say, hey, let's go to the green room, we're gonna interview you. We just heard you say you feel bad. What happened? It's just cameras everywhere. You don't know when you're fighting. Every time somebody fight, they pick another fight, so you're basically just cutting weight for no reason because you don't know when you're fighting. It's a lot of work. It's pretty stressful, but I just try to just make sure I was just like on my own and just be like, hey, you know what? These teams or whatever we call it here, if we won all the fights, we're fighting each other in the semifinals. So I was like, in a way, like, yeah, we're cool, we're in the same team, but if I have to fight you, I'm like, I don't know, I don't like that. So I kind of don't try to get too attached to nobody because I'm like, what if I have to fight this guy that I call him a friend now? I don't fight my friends. So it's a weird thing, and I was excited to be there. I was like the first guy from Ecuador to be there, and I was trying to win it, and then I won my first fight by KO, and after that I got a weird skin infection that my whole body looked like a zombie, like just just like scratches everywhere, like just pimple, but really that infection. And then they told me, hey, if you cut weight like that, you can die. And I was like die, or just you've been a doctor, been exaggerating. He's like, no, the way your body look in the outside is the body how the body looks in the inside. And I was like, oh, I was pretty. I don't know what happened. Maybe my immune system dropped too much because my first fight was at the end of the first round, so I was cutting weight for like 6 weeks nonstop.
Yeah, you touched there on weight cuts. Have you ever? What's the biggest weight cut you've ever done? Is it like overnight or over?
Back then I was little, but it was the first time I cut to 135. So I didn't. My whole career was 45, and then for the Ultimate Fighter, I dropped to 35. I never cut weight in my life. Back then my weight like 148, 149, just dropped to 45. But for the Ultimate Fighter, I was like walking around 140 for weeks because I didn't knew how to cut. I was just like guessing, and I would have cut 6 pounds of water, like because somebody told me get in the sun until you make the way. But I wasn't doing properly. It was just I was eating nothing, getting in the sauna, running with plastics, doing everything you shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, I was doing that about 10 years ago when the sport was in like the wasn't like the dark ages, lad. But we didn't in the UK. It was we didn't know what we were doing really. It was just first coming about really MMA on the scene. And I can remember back in the day when I was younger, about 19, 20, 21, I've cut like 16, 17, 18 pounds overnight to make like
Yeah,
135 and
that's a lot.
145.
Yeah, I don't even today. I don't get my way past 155, just because my eating habits are pretty good, and for me now it's like I don't crave for any bullshit just because I'm so used to eat clean that if I eat one thing that is a little processed or fried, I feel like shedding a couple bites. So I just keep my diet pretty good year round, and it's still a heavy cut just because I'm 29 years old. We're not supposed to drop 15 pounds of water or 12 pounds of water overnight, and 135 is crazy. I would love to fight 155, but we wait ourselves walk into the cage like they do it in grappling. Like wait and you fight. I think 155. I will be the healthiest man alive. I will guess, but it's not gonna happen. So I don't even waste energy thinking or asking for weight classes because it is what it is.
Yeah,
Just
I agree with you there because I think I'd probably be like a 170 if that was the case because I only cut about 10 pounds in water now to make 155. But I know for a fact I couldn't go the weight below. But when I
yeah,
step when I step into the cage, I'm about I think it was 179 last time.
yeah.
You know
So
what I
you
mean?
put in some weight.
Yeah, so I'm putting weight on. Where as you say, it would be fairer if we were getting in the cage right and weighing ourselves right before it. It would be. I need on your diet anyway, Chito. You're eating clean all
I
year
got you,
round.
bro. All year, bro. I got a full freezer in front of me, full with elk, liver, moose, and then in my other freezer I have like 30 ribeyes, couple tomahawks, chicken heart, and then yeah, that's how I eat, bro. I eat pretty much carnivore, and I add vegetables in the side. I add veggie juices either morning or night, and then I eat everything that comes from the ground. I Most of the things are you can find in my house is they don't have a label or an expiration date. It's
Yeah, I
it's
understand. Yeah,
fruit. Everything is just you open, you eat it, you throw it away. Like I'm not buying. There's no sugar candy, and I feel better. That's why when people, I don't hate on people eating or being fat because I'm like I'm happy like this. They're happy like that. Who the fuck I am to tell you you're doing wrong? So but I feel good. Like I feel great. I wake up with energy. Pretty sure my testosterone is like a young horse. I'm strong. I'm happy, and I do believe a lot of mental problems come through bad food. I'm like, if you're putting so much chemicals and preservatives in your body, I'm like, your mind can go right. Even the weed I smoke is pretty clean. It's coming from people I know. Is test is good. It's clean, and it's not just processed to be stronger. The mushrooms I eat, everything I eat is clean.
Yeah. Well, you said there elk meat. I don't even think I've ever tasted elk meat, Gito. Don't think you get elk meat in the UK.
There's definitely elk meat over
I
there.
don't think. Do we get elk meat in the UK, Jacob? We don't, do we? No, I don't. I don't think we get elk meat. When you
Dude,
mentioned
when
it,
you
then I
eat,
was thinking. It makes me think of Joe Rogan.
yeah, Joe Rogan hooked me up with this freezer, and I've been eating the out of that thing, dude. Like every day, I eat like elk sausage or elk liver, or dude, and I can just feel like my power just increased by a spoon, by a spoon. It's like I should going like that, going like that. But it's just the way it should be. I got a sauna at home. I got an ice bath, and I just go back and forth. I'm like, fighting is too fucked up, dude. We get cracked in the face weekly. I'm like, you need to live a health. That's what I told myself. I need to be as clean I can to make sure I balance that out because once the brain goes, I'm like, right?
Yeah, you're not wrong there. You see a lot of fighters with it now. Like I was speaking to Forrest Griffin on a previous podcast, and he was saying about like sparring, how many rounds of people sparring people do, and like years ago, he was doing like 8 rounds of sparring, and he was like, I don't know why I was doing that. I was only doing 3 to 5 round fights. He was like, back in the day, people were just doing mad shit.
Yeah. Even though back in the day they were just like couple bouncer
Yeah,
trying to fight in a bar. I'm like, today, if I'm fighting for a 3 rounder, why you fight 6 rounds? Like, makes no
yeah,
sense. You fight in three. Make sure you won those three. If you're not winning those three, because sometimes you do 6, 7 rounds, you take off 3 rounds, then the rest you go hard, and then your mind don't know when to just put it together. So last couple of fights being 5 rounds, I spar 5 rounds. I can get a fresh guy each round, but I'm not gonna do 10 rounds. It's like, for what? Makes no sense.
yeah. You're taking unnecessary head damage, and obviously, as you go later on in the round, you get a bit more tired. Your defense gets worse, and you take more shots anyway. So it just, to me, it makes no sense. In our gym, we do however many rounds you're fighting, you do that many rounds. You don't do excess.
Exactly. No, I'm with you there. It makes you just take more trauma everywhere for no reason.
Yeah,
Fucking body kicks, calf kicks, spinning wheel kicks. People go crazy in there. Then wrestling. I always bring like really good wrestlers because that's how you dictate the fight. You either defend the takedown or you take somebody down. But wrestling is it's almost like the balance of fighting. Either you want to stand or you want to take them down or you want to defend. But just I'll always make sure I bring like D1 wrestlers or really high level jiu-jitsu guys, and I just like, hey guys, come, just try to me up because if I can go through this, I'm sure in the cage I'll be fine.
so what martial art did you start with then? Was it just like striking or jiu-jitsu or wrestling?
I started with jiu-jitsu when I was 16 years old. My neighbor once like, yo, like there's this jiu-jitsu place, it's really sick. There's high level guys in there, and I'm like, you're fighting every day for fun. I might as well go and learn how to do it because you suck. And I was like, yeah, I know, but I like to fight anyway. So he took me one day to that gym, and I never left. I went every day, and as soon as I finished high school, I started going morning and night every day. And they like since I was a blue belt, I was like telling people like, yeah, I want to be in the UFC. They were like, bro, you're a fucking wife. You don't even know what you want in life. I'm like, I came to this gym thinking about being a UFC fighter before I even learn how to fight. Before I even see how would it do in fighting. And people will those guys that I still getting in contact with a couple of them. They're like, dude, you were really saying you want to be a UFC fighter before you get even a blue belt. And I was like, I mean it. I'm not full of. And I really on since the first day, I don't miss one day ever. I was just obsessed. I was just loving it, and I was doing, in jiu-jitsu, I was doing like the beginners class. the regular class, the advanced class, and I would do like 3 classes in a row, from 5 p.m. till 9 p.m. every day.
I love the way you said there, though, that even before like you got your blue belt, you were saying you wanted to be in the UFC. Because I was doing the same thing before I even joined Next Generation. I was saying I wanna be in the UFC. I want to be in the UFC, and that was my goal before I even stepped foot in the gym. When I joined the gym, that was my goal. It wasn't to like get good at Jiu Jitsu or do this. It was always to be in the UFC and fight for the UFC.
Yeah, no, that I was obsessed with the UFC. I was like, and then people, when I was already getting close to probably get a call, people like, hey, what happened if other promotion called you? I say, no, I don't care. Like I didn't did this much to be in the B league. I don't want to be there. That sucks. I want to be in the UFC. So if the UFC don't call me, I just figured it out what else to do. But it was for me it was UFC or nothing.
So you started your pro career in Ecuador then?
Yeah, I did, but I only did 3 fights in Ecuador because I realized if I have a record of 10-0 in Ecuador, that don't means nothing in the world. So I fought 3 times in Ecuador, and then after that I will reach out to promoters in Peru, Panama, Mexico, Costa Rica, Spain, Brazil. Like I would just DM everybody like, hey, I fight for free. Send me a like a poster of me versus anybody, and I ask for the sponsors to pay for my flight, for my hotel. I'm like, don't give me nothing, just give me the fight. And I did my first fight in Panama. Then I went to Mexico. Then I fought in Peru like between 4 or 5 times, and then the UFC called me. But I was fighting Brazilians. I was fighting, guys from Costa Rica, guys in Peru. So it was easier for the UFC to find my name just because I was already kind of like fighting better guys in South America. Like I feel if I would have stayed in Ecuador, I would probably never make it.
And you were always fighting people in their own backyard then, obviously, fighting the hometown fighter.
Always. My first
So,
fight in Peru was a main event against local guy. When I fought in Mexico for the belt, I fought a Mexican guy. Like when I fought in Panama, I fought a guy from Costa Rica, but since Panama and Costa Rica are close, they kind of root for him anyway. So everywhere it went, it was me versus the guy.
where's the most hostile environment you ever fought in then?
London for sure.
London. Yeah.
London, yeah. You guys are fucking crazy. It's a different chant. Like in Brazil they say like, "Oh, vamos morrer." Like they basically say like, "You're gonna die," but that's weak. They're like, "Yeah, that's like yeah, sure, I'm gonna die." Fuck off you. But London, the energy is fucking gnarly. But it's because that comes from soccer. You guys are very crazy in
Yeah.
soccer. We are like if you go to a soccer game in Ecuador, it feels like a fight, and it's fucking soccer. But you guys are like that too. So when I fought
Brad
David
Pickett.
Grant and Brad Pickett, the crowd was just I can just tell dense energy from those motherfuckers. They were like kill that guy. That's what I would love to fight in London against somebody from outside the UK. That would be pretty
Yeah.
cool. They probably like me by now, so who knows?
Yeah, definitely. You're a fan favourite, lad, when you get big knockouts. But lad, that knockout against Brad Pickett was quality as well. And then the Davy Grant fight, that was a scrap. That was a brilliant back and forth fight.
Yeah, that was a fun fight. That was a fun fight too. And yeah, like O2 Arena, it's fucking awesome. And I love Europe. Like when I went in London, I'm like I just like the town. I like the food, the coffee, cultural. It looks cool, and I just want to keep going more up there.
Yeah, hopefully we can get a big card sorted there though, lad. Like the O2 for me now, personally, I think it's too small. We need a football stadium, as you say, a soccer stadium. Like there's Tottenham Stadium or Wembley and West Ham Stadium. You could do a fight there, be about 60, 70, 80,000 people. That'd be
Yeah,
special.
I think they will make it happen. I think it's getting there. Like right now, they have like a solid UK team. They got you, Morley, Tomas. Like I'm sure there's a bunch of people outside them. Like it's just getting better over there. Like Bisping kind of like like make the road, get the belt, defend it, and now it's like the new generation is gonna just go and kill it.
Yeah, he definitely paved the way for us, like. But that's what you're doing in your country, that you're paving the way for everyone else to come through, and people in Ecuador are starting to believe that they can get into the UFC now because you've done it. You're inspiring a whole nation, lad.
It's crazy. That's a word I like. When you say that, I'm always thinking like you gotta inspire the community. Like a lot of people, I feel like they try to reach out to the world, like kind of like in social media. It's like just start with with your neighbors, with your country, with the people that know you. Like if you inspire the people around you, you're just gonna like magnify everything you do because the neighbor will tell to the other neighbor, hey, that guy's cool, that guy's doing right, that guy's putting in work. It's just like just little by little, you just keep adding and just making it better.
Yeah, spot on that. Like, I always say that outside of the cage, stuff means more. Like, obviously, winning fights is brilliant, lad, as you know. Getting not only like 0.1% of the world will ever understand what it's like to get your hand raised in an MMA fight. But the messages that I think you obviously get them as well yourself, of people saying, "Oh, you've motivated me to get out of bed today. You've inspired me to get out there and go running." Like, I think they mean more than winning any fight.
Yeah, yeah. Like we need it. We need to do it. That's what like I'm like we do the way we do it. But when people start changing their lives or doing something better just because they see somebody else doing it, I really believe that's like the most cool thing you can do, and that's like kind of like the beauty of what you're doing. Like if if one person reach out and is like, hey dude, because of you I lose this amount of pounds, or as I go into the gym, I'm like that alone is just give me the energy to like just do this over and over and over.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, 100%. But getting back to obviously the fighting, what would you say is your biggest win of your career then, or what's your favorite win?
um I think of course the last one is the most important just because it's the most recent one. But I always give the respects to Pickett. I think that was my first big win in the UFC. That was in a pack O2 arena, and that guy was legit. I probably catch him a little older, but to be honest, out of all the guys I fought, young guys or older guys, he was almost like the most prepared, quick, sharp. And I think the most important thing about him is a mean. He really is not trying to win by a little bit. He wanna hurt you, and I got a lot of experience out of that fight. So I think that's probably my one of my favorite wins, and happened in a really big stage too. I was like the fight before the common event. It was a big car. London is always big, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, Pickett retired after that fight, didn't he? Didn't he leave his gloves
Yeah,
in the
that was
cage?
his last fight.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Well, you finished off he had a historic career. You finished off his career for him there, in a good way for you, but a bad way for him,
Oh,
we
in
could
a in
say.
a, in a, in a that way for him. Like I know that, but they called me 10 days notice for that fight. Like I was coming off elbow surgery. I didn't had no money. I haven't show up to the gym in 10 weeks. I was running for 3 weeks before they called me, and they were like, "Hey, you want to fight next week in London?" And I was like, "I don't, I don't even ask who." I think I have like 6 grand left in my account, and I was like, "Fucking send me the papers." And then everybody really thought I was getting in there, getting punched once, and making myself a little bold because I was so out of shape because I was coming off surgery. My arm wasn't even straight all the way down; it was really like halfway. And I was like, I need the money so bad that I went to the doctor, got clear. The doctor didn't want to clear me. And I was like, hey man, I really need this for my family. You don't clear me, we're gonna have a trouble. And the guy cleared me. I took the fight, and everybody told me like, hey, don't worry, we will take care of you no matter what happened. I was like, you guys really thinking I came for the paycheck here? I'm like I can be injured, I can be out of shape, but my balls is still there. My grit is still there. So, and I put in a good performance. but it's because where I was in life. I was broke. I have a family, and I was like, I'm not gonna let my family down. I'm not gonna tell my family we have to go back to Ecuador. This is not gonna happen.
Well, yeah, I'm going to have to touch on it because a lot of people always mention it. A lot of people think your breakthrough fight was the O'Malley fight. I don't personally think it was. I think your breakthrough fight was when you knocked Frankie Edgar out, because that knockout, as I say, lad, his face. Like, have you seen, obviously, you've seen The Dark Knight, the Joker at the start where they robbed the bank, the masks. When you kicked him in the face,
Yeah,
his face looked like one of them masks. That's one of the
yeah, 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 yeah.
scariest knockouts ever, lad. That's what his face looked like. Like, I personally think that was like,
Yeah,
that's
his
your
face changed.
biggest performance. But everyone always asks you, obviously, about O'Malley. So I'm going to have to ask you about
Well,
that.
I think I feel like the new kids, like the legit people that don't know shit about the sport. They just follow whoever is more famous at a time. That's how the way things work today. Like people just go to your Instagram handle and see how many followers you have, and based on that, they either
Yeah.
suck your dick a lot or a little bit. So, definitely the Frankie Edgar was a fight that was the highlight I was looking forward. That was like the fight I was that was the fight that made me break through. That was the fight that gave me a main event. The Sean O'Malley fight didn't
Yeah.
give me, um, you know, and until this day, it's been the same. He haven't won a big fight. He beat couple guys that pretty much have two left foot or are coming off three KOs, which a win is a win. Good for him, but I don't really have any negative feeling about anybody. But like that fight really didn't give me anything. Like I fought after the fight for Aldo, came a little short in the third round, but it wasn't like I got. I really from the Frankie fight, I got a main event afterwards. So that's what I'm very stoked about it. Stop. And that was that was in MSG. Biggest scenario you will ever have is MSG. So that was I think that was my biggest fight up until this point, like to where bring me here right now.
Yeah. Something that I always thought about I'll never forget when you weighed in because I was there at that New York show when you weighed in and when you fought. How Frankie Edgar was a champion at 155, but you made him look small at 135.
That's crazy. They mentioned that in the broadcast, and I was like, that guy. Well, also he was a tank too. Like he was a legit. Like his wrestling, his strength, his cardio. But 155, that's a lot. And he fought huge guys. Like Gray Manor was huge.
Yeah.
Like he fought some
Benson
big
Henderson was
out
huge.
there.
But yeah, as you say, I couldn't get over that. I was like, whoa, Cheeto's never fought at 155. And looking at you is like, he looked like a 35 and you look like a 45. But
Yeah,
that's just how some people's bodies are. It's crazy, this sport.
yeah,
Like, I
and
look at some of the light.
that's the evolution of the sport too. We head into different times. The level is higher. People cut more weight. They came healthier. Like it's just it's just evolution. Like GSP said, bears. Like the fighters of today are better than the fighters of yesterday, but we won't be better than the fighters of tomorrow. So it's kind of silly, but it makes sense. Like it's just the evolution just doesn't stop. You just keep going, keep going, keep going, and if they catch you slacking, they will put you in your ass. So it's the game is just getting better and better and better. So might as well get it done while you can.
Yeah, you've got a point there. Like, every cycle, like when we evolve each MMA year, everyone gets better and better and better. The new kid what comes along gets better and better. Like, you're seeing it now, aren't you, with like that young lad who was 17 who just won on the Contender Series, and then Bo Nickel, then people coming through now. They're like the new generation of MMA fighters.
Yeah, like that kid is 17. Bo Nico wrestling level is probably the highest in the UFC right now. It's
Yeah.
it's just crazy, It's just crazy to see like guys with two fights came in and they can really beat anybody in the top 20. Everything comes down also to confidence, to like how your mind is, how your career goes, because the people got the talent, people got the technique, but when you get to the spotlight and you get fame and you get money, A lot of people can go sideways too. So everything is how you handle it. Everything in MMA, like at the beginning you can be a killer, then you get all the lights on top of you, and you don't know how to handle that. And it's just a lot of parts in the pose that you need to like make sure you keep them right. You keep it in the right way because sometimes you need to work hard. Some people just have talent. That's that's just whatever, right? But once you get to the top, you if you don't know how to handle that, it's so easy to come down to.
Yeah, that is one side I always say to people. People think that we just train and we cut weight and we do that, but they don't understand like all the media we have to do fight week, all the stuff you've got to sign, all the people trying to get your autograph and trying to get pictures with you, how like it affects you. Like a lot of people don't get that side of things. Where I always say like our sport, it's like 80% mental.
It's a lot, man. It's a lot. 5 week, it's a lot. Especially if you are the guy the car is built around, or you are a guy coming up that have a lot of hype. Everybody want to talk to you. Everybody want a picture with you, and that's cool. You gotta enjoy it because one day it's gonna be gone, and might as well enjoy it, do it right, and just handle it properly. You focus on the thing that matters the most, which is winning.
Yeah, that's a fact. You're only as good as your last fight. So when is your next fight?
Um, Honestly, I'm
Not
I'm
unconfirmed.
ready. Like I can fight, anytime. And I think the UFC is gonna wait to see what happened on October 22nd. See what happened between Jan and O'Malley. See what happened in the title shot. Because if they wouldn't want to do the fight with Sanhagen, they would have told me something by now, which they haven't said nothing. So I really think I can fight for the belt next. I think they can easily make that, or they can be like, you know what, let's do number one contender. But I feel if Jan wins, they would probably send me for a title shot, just because Jan already declined to fight me, and they probably will make him pay for that. If Miley wins, he's beating number one contender. Period. You're beating number one contender. That's all you need to do. There's no discussion there. So it's come down really to that fight to see what really happened, because Sanhagen probably will end fighting Merab, and then it's just the math. Sometimes this didn't work. So it comes more down to my opinion, but we'll see. I'm ready to go, and
I'd love to see you beat Mareb up.
I'll, that's a fight I would take yesterday if they asked me for.
Yeah, I'd love to see. I think you'd knock him out. To be honest, I think you'd knock him out in two. I'd love to see you beat him up.
The way he looked against Aldo shows a lot. Like he couldn't fight, and then he hold Aldo a lot in defense, and Aldo also is not trying to fight because he knows he's gonna get tired. So he'd rather lose by decision than get TKO.
Yeah,
I'm gonna fight till the wheels fall off. So good luck trying to get a hold of my crotch.
yeah. No matter what second we are in the fight, you're gonna be trying to take his chin home with you. I know that for a fact. That goes without saying.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I
But
think the division is really fun right now.
yeah, it is. I think Bantam and lightweight are the two most stacked divisions at the minute, like 100%.
Yeah, they're the best ones at the moment. The competition, the talent is just crazy.
Yeah, it is. You're spot on there. But at the end, I let everyone know that you're coming on the podcast, and I have an Ask Paddy segment where people send questions in for yourself, and I'll ask you a few
Go
now.
for it.
Know what I mean? So here's one here from Tony. Question for Chito. You've really come into the spotlight after the win over O'Malley. So yeah, that's what someone said before. Over O'Malley and gone on a serious run. Would you consider the rematch in the future, considering how dismissive he's been towards your win?
It's simple. The UFC offered it to me. I'm not picky. I'm like I really believe and I really preach what I say. If I want to be a world champion, I fight anybody. I already fought him, I beat him, but if they offer me the fight again, we'll see. As of now, he have a fight in front of him, so I don't really give a f. But we'll see after that.
Does it annoy you the fact that he tries to still say he's unbeaten?
I don't give a f. I'm like, every time I say that, he's basically promoting me. Like I'm like, because people will go because the new people go to the record, see I lost TKO loss or KO loss, and then be like, wait a minute, he's just free. He's
Yeah,
just free publicity. So I take it. I make more money out of that.
yeah, that's it. Any publicity is good publicity, as they
Like
say.
that 1,000%.
Next one from Mr. King. Ask Chito about his endurance running, when he started, who motivated him, how long it took him to build up distances that he now runs, and whether it's for mental health reasons or cardio reasons. Well, it's for
I
both.
do it. I do it for both. The physical ability I get from those type of runs, it's incredible. But also, what I say earlier, just keeping a flow of good thoughts through my head, it just helped me being healthy, help me being better at home, help me being a better friend, a better person. Just because I try to keep the keep just putting good things around and good things and just thinking about it and visualizing and just it's just good for your mind. And if you want to make it even better, you eat a little mushrooms before you run, you even go better. You go by the hand of God. Everything's gonna be fine.
Sounds brilliant. Next question is from Federico Benitez. Question for Chito. How did you learn your English? It's pretty good. Greetings to both of you from Uruguay. Greetings, Federico.
In high school when I moved from Chone to Guayaquil, which is a big city, in Chone didn't you know the education was a little back then was a little maybe less than was in the big city, because it's a small town. So I didn't knew how to say a word in English. So when I get to the bigger city, I come back home and I tell my mom, like, Mom, I have no idea what English means. Like, I'm like, so the same teacher that I had at school was coming to my house twice a week to just teach me English, and I learned pretty fast. And I'm glad I took those classes because they help me a lot now that I'm here.
Yeah, your English is very good. I wish I could learn another language, but I'm too lazy. I
Yeah.
wish I could learn like Spanish
I
or
want I want I want
Portuguese
I
or
want to take
French, but
Italian classes now. It'd be just because I have Italian passport. I feel I need to learn how to speak Italian.
yeah, definitely. I'd love to learn another language. As I say, I'm too lazy. Sit around on my ass all the time. But next question from Corby lad. That's defo not your real name. But anyway, question for Tito. Do you think martial arts training is becoming more popular in Ecuador because of your rise in the UFC?
Yeah, I think definitely people is paying more attention to the UFC, and there's a lot of little kids that there are, you know, trying to be me, trying to do what I do, and that's pretty cool. And I feel that's probably one of the big reasons I stay consistently to myself. I stay dedicated to the grind, just because you know I feel like a lot of kids or younger people that they look up to you. If you do a lot of dumb shit, they're gonna think that's okay, and they will go and try it, and then they will find out that they just they everything goes sour for them, because not everybody can get away with that type of shit unless if you're the man. So that's why I really try just to put in a good example and just let them know through hard work, dedication, you get everything.
Yeah, brilliant message. That's what I always say. Hard work, dedication, you can get whatever you want in this world. We've got another great Ecuador question here. Alberto Flores asks, question for Chito. Do you feel like the support from the entirety of the Latino community? And what's it like visiting Ecuador now you're in the UFC?
Yeah, the support I get from the Latin community is pretty big. It's huge. Just I can feel every time I'm fighting, from fight week to the fight. It's like the whole continent is just looking after me, and I don't see it as a pressure, because a lot of people think like, oh, if things don't go right, they will stop support me. I'm like, I don't even think about that. I only think about all the energy I'm getting. I'm very focused on energy. So like, if I just feel good things coming my way, I start visualizing better. I feel better, and I really pay attention on the good. That's what I feel. I'm always with a smile on my face and just having a good time.
Yeah, nice. And yeah, I've got one more question here anyway. Asks Raymond Naranjo. Cheeto bro, I'm first generation American Ecuadorian. What was your favourite food while growing up in Ecuador? keep showing everyone that Ecuador pride, baby.
Favorite food? Definitely encebollado. I'm like, you're gonna love that part. If you come to Ecuador, dude, I have a tour of food.
What is it, lad? What does it consist
Dude,
of?
it's a soup with albacore. It's hot. You can put green plantains. They're very crunchy. Dude, it's delicious. I think if I bring you to Ecuador, you come back waiting, fighting a heavyweight. But unless you put the running shoes with me while we are there, because the food is fucking
I,
good.
I'd,
Rice,
I'd have to.
beans, steak, and each town have like, dude, Ecuador is like being in Europe. You can go in a train and go from pasta to I don't know what they eat in Sweden, but it's just crazy the diversity. Like you drive 2 hours to the south and it's a fully different menu. You go 3 hours up north and you have like corn soups and they eat pork in a very interesting way. So there's good food in Ecuador, but encebollado is my number one.
Yeah, I need to try more food. I'm a bit picky. I stick to things that I know when I should adventure out. But I've got one last question. What's your mate's name? What's the
Oh,
dog called?
Simon, come on.
Yeah, he's bossing, mud. Does he want to play? That's what it is. He keeps bringing the
Oh, he
ball
just
over.
keep bringing it to me, and I'm like, oh.
He keeps coming over wanting to play. I feel bad. I want you to
If
play
I
with
leave
him.
him outside, he will start crying. He's like a little kid. He will cry. Like I leave it on the patio. I'm not
So
living on like on his little cage. And I left, and he started crying that somebody's killing him. I'm like, dude, they never think I beat the fuck out of you. You're just a little baby.
yeah, my dog's the same. If I lock him out of the room, I'm in, he'll start whimpering at
Yeah,
the
he's
door.
like,
And he's like 40. He's like 45 kilo. He's big, and he acts like a
yeah, this
baby.
is a nice red pit bull.
Yeah, he's a boss dog,
Yeah,
him lad. But yeah, Chito, just before we sign off, is to tell everyone where to find your social media and that, lad, and any sponsors or anything you want to shout out, let them know
much
now.
love to everybody who supports me, and if you guys want to find me, see what I'm doing, Chito Vera UFC. That's how you find me on Twitter and Instagram, and that's it, bro. It's great to talk to you. Thanks for having me.
Lad, it was my pleasure to have you on, Chito. Thank you very much, lad. You're making waves in the UFC in a minute, just knocking people out left, right, and centre. So you're a pleasure to watch. I can't wait to watch your next fight, lad. You're never in a
Thank
boring
you,
fight.
brother. You're doing a great job too, so keep it up.
Thank you very much. Here we go, people. Another episode in the books. Thank you very much. See you next week.